Summary of the Hunger Habit: Why We Eat When We're Not Hungry and How to Stop by Judson Brewer. The Hunger Habit by Judson Brewer is a comprehensive guide that delves into the psychological and neurological aspects of overeating. Brewer, a renowned psychiatrist and neuroscientist, offers a deeply researched plan to help readers understand the brain's role in food cravings and how to overcome them. Overview. The book is grounded in cutting-edge neuroscience and decades of clinical practice. Brewer's approach is unique in that it doesn't rely on willpower, calorie counting, or restrictive diets. Instead, it emphasizes the power of awareness and mindfulness to change our relationship with food. Key points include: understanding triggers. Brewer explains how to map our brains to discover the triggers that lead to overeating. By identifying these triggers, we can start to diffuse them. Curiosity over willpower. Instead of fighting cravings, Brewer advocates for approaching them with curiosity. This shift in perspective can transform how we deal with food urges. Self-kindness. The book stresses the importance of self-kindness and compassion. Brewer argues that self-judgment and shame only perpetuate unhealthy eating habits. Mindfulness practices. Practical mindfulness exercises are provided to help readers become more aware of their eating habits and make conscious choices. Example. One of the key exercises Brewer introduces is the RAIN practice. Recognize, notice when you are experiencing a craving or urge to eat. Allow the craving to be there without trying to suppress it. Investigate, explore the craving with curiosity. What does it feel like in your body? What thoughts are associated with it? Nurture, offer yourself kindness and understanding. Remind yourself that cravings are a natural part of being human. By consistently applying this practice, readers can start to break the cycle of mindless eating and develop a healthier relationship with food. The Hunger Habit is both accessible and compassionate, offering a step-by-step program to help readers reclaim their lives from the grip of food cravings. Introduction. Gain a fresh perspective on healthy eating. The Hunger Habit explores the psychological aspects of why we eat beyond our basic energy needs. Delving into how emotional hunger leads to unhealthy eating habits, it offers mindfulness strategies to manage cravings and develop a healthier relationship with food. Have you ever felt utterly defeated by a box of donuts in the break room? You're not alone. Many of us wrestle with food on a daily basis, grappling with cravings, emotional eating, and the seductive pull of snacks that seem to appear when our willpower is at its lowest. This ongoing battle often leaves us cycling through feelings of shame and frustration, convinced that changing our eating habits is a Herculean task we're doomed to fail. But if we shift the focus from battling temptations to understanding and healing the brain's relationship with food, we can let go of the typical diet rhetoric that relies on willpower and calorie counting. And by combining this approach with mindfulness, rather than focusing on restrictions, we can cultivate a healthier relationship with food. Once we've switched our mindset in this way, we can start recognizing and accepting our food triggers without judgment, and gently changing our habits through awareness and kindness towards ourselves. Setbacks don't become failures, but are opportunities to understand our behaviors better. Does this sound like a better alternative to the diet merry-go-round? This summary will provide you with some healthy eating strategies based in mindfulness so you can heal your relationship with food in a sustainable way. Healthful eating begins with understanding why you eat. Let's dive into why we eat, because it's not just about being hungry. There are two different types of hunger, physiological and hedonic. Physiological hunger is your body's way of signaling that it needs fuel. It's like when your car's gas gauge starts blinking, it means you need to fill up. You know the feeling, your stomach growls, you get lightheaded, irritable, and it's hard to focus. That's your body saying, I need food to keep going. Then there's hedonic hunger. The name goes back to the ancient Greek word hedon, meaning pleasure. This is all about eating for enjoyment, not because you need to. It often starts in childhood. Think about it, birthday parties with cake and ice cream, and other fun times. Those happy memories teach your brain that sweet treats are rewarding. So, later on, when you're feeling down, stressed, or just plain tired, your brain suggests a little pick-me-up. How about some chocolate, it says, even if you're not hungry? This is what leads to comfort eating, where food becomes more about feeling good than fueling up. These moments can turn into habit loops, where certain situations automatically make you reach for a snack. It might happen when you're bored, upset, or zoning out in front of the TV. Over time, these habits get so ingrained that you might not even realize you're choosing to eat. This is why so many diets fail. They focus on the math, calories in versus calories out, but they overlook the emotional side of eating. Knowing you should eat fresh, whole foods and get plenty of exercise is one thing. But actually changing your behavior is another, and it doesn't happen just because you know what's right. Change happens in the feelings, not the facts. So, if you want to eat healthier, it's not enough to just follow a diet. You must understand both why your body needs food and why your mind wants it. This means looking deeper into those moments when you reach for a snack. Are you really hungry, or is there something else going on? Breaking the cycle of emotional eating involves noticing these patterns and consciously making different choices. That's how you connect your mind and body to create a healthier lifestyle that goes beyond just counting calories. Mindfulness can help you break unhealthy eating habits. In our quest to eat more healthily, it's crucial to shift from the outdated calories in, calories out model to a deeper understanding of why we eat what we eat. Central to this approach is mindfulness, which involves focusing on the present moment and acknowledging our feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations without judgment. Why are you reaching for that snack? Are you genuinely hungry, or is there an emotional void you're trying to fill? This kind of introspection can help us understand and modify our eating behaviors. Mindfulness directly engages the brain's reward system, particularly the orbitofrontal cortex, our decision maker. It's easy for our brains to convince us that eating something like cake will soothe our negative emotions, at least temporarily. However, by being mindful, we can shift these habitual responses and alter what our brain views as rewarding. Our brains act like prediction machines, always using past experiences to influence future behaviors. Take a moment to recall the last time you overindulged in ice cream, pizza, or cake. Think about how it felt afterward, the discomfort of feeling overstuffed. Remembering these sensations can lead to a disenchantment with those foods. As we consistently note the negative outcomes of overeating, the reward value assigned to these foods decreases. This process of reflection is critical in disrupting unhealthy eating patterns. It usually takes about 10 to 15 mindful episodes to build a sufficient mental database that helps us remember these outcomes and choose differently in the future. After experiencing disenchantment with a particular food or behavior, our brain is ready to embrace healthier alternatives. For instance, consider psychiatrist Judson Brewer's experience of replacing gummy worms, a long-time habit, with blueberries. Gummy worms, once a favored treat, began to feel overly sweet and rubbery to Brewer upon mindful reflection. Blueberries offered a healthier, yet still satisfying alternative. This is an example of how you could replace a less healthy habit with a more nourishing one, like swapping out candy for a piece of dark chocolate or fresh fruit. To implement this approach, start by mapping out your eating habits and identifying the triggers and rewards within those habit loops. Then, work on changing the reward value these foods hold in your brain to create disenchantment. Finally, explore and adopt more rewarding behaviors that also make your body feel good. By reprogramming the reward hierarchy through mindful experiences, you can foster lasting changes in your eating habits, leading to a healthier lifestyle that's based on more than just calorie counting. This method not only helps in eating healthier but also aligns with a more holistic understanding of physical and emotional well-being. Awareness exercises help you reconnect with genuine hunger. To adopt a more mindful approach to eating, it's a good idea to enhance your awareness rather than focus on diet restrictions or categorize foods as good or bad. The primary goal is to appreciate the sensory aspects of food and to tune into how you feel before, during, and after eating. This method doesn't immediately alter eating habits, it's a gradual process that deepens your connection with your food choices and their impacts on your body. This process will ultimately lead to a better relationship with what you eat. A practical first step is to engage in a pre-meal warm-up. Before each meal this week, conduct a simple awareness exercise. There's no need to log your meals or restrict your diet. Just take a moment to assess your hunger on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being not hungry at all and 10 being uncomfortably full. Observe the food's texture and color, smell it, then slowly take your first bite. Chew mindfully, setting your fork down between bites, and savor the flavors and textures. After a few bites, reassess your hunger to gauge if you should continue eating. The second step focuses on understanding and reshaping your eating habits. Identify an eating behavior you wish to change, such as excessive snacking or frequent fast food consumption. Recognize that while there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying these foods occasionally, the goal is to address why you see them as problematic. Begin by pinpointing what triggers this behavior. Perhaps it's an emotional response like stress or boredom, or a situational cue like watching TV. Once you've identified the trigger, focus on the results of your eating behavior. Before you eat, ask yourself key questions to evaluate the emotional and physical outcomes of consuming this food. How will it make you feel? Reflect on previous experiences with the food. Did you enjoy it, or did it leave you feeling guilty or physically uncomfortable? Asking these questions updates your brain's information on how rewarding the food actually is, which can diminish its hold over your eating habits. These exercises aren't just about changing what you eat but how you think about eating. It takes practice. Studies show that it can take anywhere from 10 to 40 attempts to see a shift in eating behaviors. But through consistent mindfulness, you'll begin to break the cycle of habitual eating and make more conscious choices that align with your health goals. The best way to start managing cravings is to accept them. Cravings are a near-universal human occurrence, with studies revealing that over 90% of us regularly experience them. Whether it's the irresistible scent of freshly baked bread or the memory of popcorn at a movie, cravings are deeply rooted in our brain's reward centers, influenced by a mix of neurons, hormones, and our environments. Cravings often get a bad reputation, seen as a sign of poor self-control. However, they're not just impulses to be battled, they're complex responses to emotional states, environments, and physiological needs. Superpalatable foods, rich in fats, sugars, salts, and carbohydrates, are particularly effective at hijacking our brain chemistry. These foods can disrupt our natural hunger signals, making us crave them even when we're not hungry. For those who feel overwhelmed by cravings, the traditional advice has been to restrict, avoid, or distract yourself from tempting foods. This might mean skipping dessert, avoiding the break room when there are donuts, or trying not to think about the ice cream in the freezer. However, these strategies of restriction and avoidance often backfire, especially for individuals prone to binge eating. The deprivation can intensify the desire for forbidden foods, leading to a cycle of craving and overeating. Emerging research suggests a more effective approach to managing cravings: mindfulness and acceptance. By acknowledging that cravings are a normal, natural part of the human experience, you can begin to deal with them more constructively. Mindfulness techniques encourage us to observe our cravings without judgment, understanding them as mere thoughts and sensations that ebb and flow. Instead of fighting cravings, the recommended approach is to sit with them, observe them with curiosity, and allow them to pass. This technique doesn't mean giving into every craving, rather, it involves recognizing cravings for what they are, temporary and manageable. By becoming more attuned to these feelings, you can make conscious choices about how to respond, rather than reacting impulsively. This approach will empower you to break the cycle of craving and restriction without feeling deprived. It offers a sustainable way to manage eating behaviors that doesn't rely on sheer willpower or banishment of certain foods. By understanding and observing cravings, you can decide how to act on them in a way that aligns with your health goals and personal values. Cravings can be satisfied without overindulging. Let's wrap up our exploration of healthier eating strategies by looking at some practical exercises you can use to manage cravings. One potent method is known as urge surfing. Cravings, much like ocean waves, have a natural rise and fall. Research suggests that they typically peak around 5 minutes. Urge surfing involves riding this wave of craving without giving in. It's a technique often used in treating substance abuse, and it's just as effective for food cravings. Here's how to do it in 4 simple steps. First off, identify the craving. Start by acknowledging it. Say to yourself, I'm having the urge to eat this particular food. In other words, specify what you're craving. Now observe the craving. Pay attention to how it feels. Do you notice a sensation in your stomach? Are you feeling distracted or anxious? Is there a compulsion to move or keep returning to the kitchen? Next, be open. Instead of trying to suppress the craving, accept that it's there. Allow yourself to feel it without judgment. Finally, track the craving's intensity. Notice how the craving intensifies and then subsides. For example, state my craving for potato chips started at a 5, escalated to a 7, but now it's fading. By practicing urge surfing, you learn that trying to fight cravings is futile. However, acknowledging and coexisting with them is effective. The second strategy involves a simple yet profound question: how little is enough? This approach helps redefine the relationship with the foods you crave. For instance, consider the case of a woman who used to eat a whole bag of potato chips while watching TV. Instead of cutting out chips entirely, she was encouraged to focus on each chip she ate and to discover how many it actually took to feel satisfied. Remarkably, she found that after a few chips, her craving was appeased. This led to a significant reduction in her consumption, satisfying the craving with just 2 chips. This approach of mindful eating allows you to enjoy your favorite foods without overindulgence. It doesn't mean never having a chocolate chip cookie again, it's about savoring the one you do eat. Pay close attention as you eat, enjoy each bite, and then assess, do I really want more? Often, you'll find that a small amount is enough to satisfy. These strategies show that managing cravings doesn't entail strict avoidance but rather developing a deeper, more conscious connection with what and how we eat. By incorporating mindfulness and acceptance into our relationship with food, we can transform our eating habits, making choices that align with our health goals while still enjoying the pleasures of eating. This balanced approach offers a sustainable path away from fad diets towards lasting well-being. Conclusion. Understanding hunger involves distinguishing between physiological needs and hedonic desires. Mindfulness is crucial in managing eating habits by recognizing and adjusting emotional and habitual eating triggers. By observing cravings and their effects, you can adopt healthier alternatives and reprogram your brain's reward system. The process requires identifying food triggers, reassessing the emotional rewards of eating, and consciously choosing healthier responses. These practices promote a sustainable, health-oriented lifestyle beyond mere calorie counting.